Hello and welcome to this very short course on sales basics by Breaking Barriers Training. What we will talk about is definition of sales, basic models of sales, some techniques, some applications of those techniques. Let us go ahead and understand what is sales. So if you're new to sales, this will be a good starter for you. What is the definition of sales? A sale is a transaction between two or more parties in which the buyer receives tangible or intangible goods, services, or assets in exchange for money. Basically, you're exchanging money with some kind of value. So when you create value that people can buy, make their lives better with, then they are ready to exchange money for that value. And all value is perceived value. Let's understand the first model of sales. This model is known as FAB model, or fabbing we call it. Features, advantages, and benefits. What are features? FAB stands for features, advantages, and benefits. As I said, a FAB statement is explaining the features, what it does, and how that benefits the prospective client. So usually features are the things that you can touch, feel, or see. So I'll give you an example of a marker. If you use a whiteboard marker, in a whiteboard marker, the features are, let's say, the ink, the plastic, nib, the shape of the marker. All those are features. Let's take one advantage. One advantage that I would like to take here is refillable marker. So if the marker is refillable, which means once it dries up, you can refill it with ink, the benefit is cost saving. So a marker with ink, which is refillable, ends up saving you money. Now this is a very important example, my dear friends. So features are facts or characteristics about the business, products, or services. Just like I said, it has ink. What the features do? Ink, which writes. Basically, an advantage is, that feature of being refillable helps you refill the marker and answers why someone should value that advantage. The customer should value the advantage because it is going to save money for the customer. Now, it's very important for us to understand that customer is not buying features or advantages for that matter. What the customer buys is the benefits or solutions. There are only two things that sell in this world, and there are only two things that people buy in this world, and they are either benefits or solutions. What I see a lot of salespeople do, which I think is a mistake, is they spend a lot of time in their sales pitch on features and sometimes on advantages. So if you're telling me, this is a beautiful pen, it is this, it has got ink, it has got a refill, it's got whatever, and I'm just thinking and I'm asking you, so what do I do? What's in it for me? Why should I be listening to you? I need a marker. I don't care what brand the marker is. I don't care what marker I'm buying. But yes, I do care about saving money. Let me give you another example. The same ink, okay, it has ink, which is a feature. Let's say the advantage of the ink in the whiteboard marker is that the ink, my dear friends, is non-toxic. Now, if the ink is non-toxic, there are health benefits, which means, let's say I'm using the marker and then I eat something. If it's a toxic ink, I might I get unwell, okay? I might get food poisoning or whatever. Toxic, it will be toxic. Or let's say if I have kids around and one of my kids who's small, let's say an infant, chews on the marker and the marker ink is toxic, it's going to be dangerous for us. So again, looking at it, if you're selling something, make sure you don't FAB but BAF, okay, which means you talk about the benefits maximum time. Spend most of the time in the benefits area and then talk about advantages and features, because that's the priority that a customer has in their mind. So if I were selling a marker, I would say, well, do you know toxic ink can do this harm to you and your kids? This marker has non-toxic ink. On the other hand, do you know people end up spending like 30% more on markers just because those markers are not refillable? This marker ends up saving 30% of your marker cost just because you can refill this and ink comes cheap. You don't have to throw it. Plus, it also has environmental benefits, which means less plastic in the environment. You are reusing that marker, which means you're saving Earth as well. So when I talk about these benefits, suddenly the perceived value of the marker jumps in the mind of the customer. And then in the cost-benefit analysis or assessment that every customer does, the benefit weighs heavier than the cost of the product or service. So just remember to focus on benefits and solutions rather than features. Now, the next model I would like to share with you is a questioning technique, basically. It's not a sales model. It's a sales model based on questioning technique. What is it called? It's called spin selling, which is an acronym. Spin is the world's leading sales methodology as outlined by Neil Rackham's groundbreaking book, Spin Selling, first published in 1988, one of my favorite books, reprinted many times and in dozens of languages. Rackham's spin behaviors were developed at Hathaway International, an organization, following years of in-depth research into what successful salespeople do differently. Now, let's understand what spin is about. Spin selling is about 4 types of questions. Situation questions. So, how's it going? What are the challenges you're facing? All those situation questions. We also call them background questions. Then we have specific problem questions, where we try to identify the pains and the problems that people are facing right now. So in that situation, I remember when I was a kid, we used to drink water out of a tap in India. Now, when I was about 15 or 20, there was somebody who came to our door and said, you know what, the water in the taps is not nice, it's not pure, it's not clean, and it's not healthy for drinking. And then they said, okay, do you have digestion issues? Do your kids, if you have kids in the family, do they fall ill often? We say, yeah, we have digestion issues. Okay, what happens when the kids have digestion issues? They say, yeah, it's a big problem. We don't want anybody to suffer. Okay, and then this person actually talked more about it. Like, okay, so you have to take a leave. This is what they told my dad. You have to take your leave. You have to take your kid to the hospital. Get the medications and everything. So I realized what this person was doing. What this person was doing was he was actually exaggerating the implications of the problems. Okay, and this is just asking questions, not selling anything, not saying that I have this water purifier that I want you to buy. No, this person is only asking questions. So how else and how often this happen? How much trouble do you go through when somebody falls ill at your place? Okay, you might even have to take a leave. What happens then? And then finally this person asks to conclude, so do you agree that you deserve better drinking water? Do you agree that you want to get out of this problem of digestion issues? Do you agree that you love your family enough to give them better drinking water? Now, the challenge here is that I can't say no, because I've already talked about the problem, the implication of the problem, how I'm suffering, the pain, the dilemma I'm in, and I can't say no to the answer. And then the moment I say, yes, I need a water purifier, this person gives me a water purifier and says, well, this is how much it's going to cost, and you and your family is going to be safe with safe drinking water. And that's how they sold us the purifier, water purifier. And then again and again, from a basic water purifier to an RO water purifier. Now, I don't know how many technologies are there, but they keep coming up with new and new and new, and they keep saying, oh my God, the water is getting purer and purer and purer. I still remember my dog saying, now they're purifying water so much that all the nutrients of the water all the salts, everything are just gone. So this water is actually not helping us in that much. So if you look at this, basically it starts with situation questions, problem questions, implication questions, which gets exaggerated a lot, and then eventually asking a need payoff question where the customer himself or herself agrees that they need to buy this product. This is one of the most intelligent sales techniques I have ever come across in my life, where the salesperson never pushes the product. It is more pull approach, where the salesperson is only facilitating a discussion where the customer is basically going through his own problem and introspecting, and in a way asking the salesperson that, yes, I want to be rescued. I want to get out of this situation because I'm in a tough situation. So my dear friends, spin selling is a wonderful concept. Read about it, or let us know. We will be able to help you with a training on this. Okay, important tips, my dear friends. Open your call if you're on a call with a smile. If you're having a face-to-face sales meeting, again with a smile. Be pleasant to look at, be pleasant to, and you can look very pleasant and charming only with a smile. Validate the call, which means if you're calling on the phone, talk to the right person. If you're meeting the right person, if you're going for a face-to-face sales meeting, make sure you're meeting the right person. Listen patiently, ask open-ended questions, stay calm when the client is angry or asks you to repeat. Okay, staying calm plays a very important role. A salesperson who stays calm in difficult situations is more trustworthy. Keep the client's needs as priority, okay? Not selling your product. Your product is not priority. Client's need is priority, client is priority. Be polite and helpful always. Even if you know that the client is not going to buy your product, still help the client. Okay, build that relationship. I believe every time we meet somebody, it's an opportunity for us to build a new relationship. So focus on that relationship. It will become fruitful after a while. Always focus on the client relationship, as I said, never on selling the product or service. Keep the customer aware of the progress. If the customer has signed the form, what happens next steps, the process, and if there should not be like no news from you. Keep updating the customer about the next steps or the progress of the process. Okay? Well, this brings us to the end of our short session on sales basics. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I thank you for your time.